Hi there, my name is Christine. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And a friend of mine asked me how to make the little boxes I've been making. So I thought I'd make a video and show you. So first thing to decide is how big you want your box to be. So sometimes I'll start with, so this is a little box here that I've made. So sometimes I start with an item that I want to package, so that gives me my dimensions. Other times I wanted to use this die here, so that told me that I needed my box to be 4 inches wide. Your only limitation on the size of your packages, your bags, I guess this is more of a bag than a box, is really the size of your paper. So a standard piece of paper is 11 by 8.5. If you're working with 12 by 12, you have that much more to work with. So I'm working with, I decided to do them in black because these are for my boys for Valentine's Day. So my paper is 11 by 8.5. So that was kind of the size limitation. So I decided to make it 1 inch thick. So what you want to do is you're going to measure. I'm going to take you through this so that you can modify it for whatever project you have in mind. So 4 is here by 1 for the back, plus 1 at the side. And you're going to have a 1/2 inch to seal it. So plus 0.5, which gives us 10.5 inches. Now at the bottom, this flap needs to be the same size as your sides. So that's 1 inch. And I decided that 5 inches tall was a nice look for the box. Otherwise I found it too tall for, so I keep saying box, bag. Otherwise I found it too tall for the 1 inch width. So that is plus 5 equals 6 inches. So I know that my height is 6 inches. I'm going to have 1 at the bottom plus 5 left up top. So let's prepare that let's do our cutting. So I'm using my paper trimmer and scoring board. So I know that I want my height to be, 5 inches up top plus the 1 inch at the bottom. So I need to take off 2.5 inches because my paper is 8.5 inches. So just lining that up at the 2.5 mark. Now, while I'm on this orientation, I'm going to do my score line at 1. So that'll be for the bottom. Just making sure I'm nicely lined up here. So my cutting blade is at the bottom, out of the way. And I'm going to use my scoring blade. If you're using Designer Series paper instead of cardstock, it is a little bit more fragile. So just do 1 pass with your scoring blade and don't press too hard. Cardstock is a lot thicker and therefore more forgiving. So I'm going to need my arm because I'm cutting more than 6 inches here, or not cutting, scoring. So I've got my measurements here. Now you could measure them out and put them by the number, but I'm not doing that. All right, so we've got our first score line is at 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. Who knew there was so much math involved in paper crafting? So 5 plus 4 is 9. And then we've got 1 is 10. I feel like I'm gonna have too much. Oh no, I'm good. No, I screwed up. Did I? Yes, I forgot to cut off my 1/2 inch. I'm gonna have a half. So at 10.5, sorry, let's just go to 10.5. I've still got a 1/2 inch here, and that is because I need to cut it off because we need our paper to be 10.5 inches long and not 11. Whew, scared myself there. So we have a little scrap. Okay, so that is our cutting and scoring. I know it's going to be a little bit hard to see because I'm working with black, but to be honest, it's hard to see either way. So I'm just going to fold my lines. So I'm just going along the score lines. I'm not, you can, you know, burnish these with your bone folder, but I don't find it necessary, to be honest. And then we've got our bottom piece. All right, so what is necessary is to now cut and notch some of these. So I'm starting at the 1/2 inch mark, cutting straight up to that 1 inch line at the bottom. So I'm going to cut along each of the score lines, only to that 1 inch bottom. I'm undecided as to whether it's easier to fold and then cut or cut and then fold. But anyways, that's what we've done. So now for this one's going away. So I'm going to cut on an angle towards that corner and it's gone. Now we want to notch the small pieces just so that there's no buckling when you're putting it together. So notching, I'm starting at, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch on the bottom and going towards the corner. And you're only notching the small pieces. So these guys are staying straight. I hope you can't hear my husband knocking on the outside wall of the house. We discovered last night that there's some water coming in our window casing, and he's trying to figure out why. It seems to be the dryer's fault, so that's not cool. But anyway, hopefully it's not too big a fix. So I'm using super sticky tear and tape for this. If you don't, you know, if you want to use your Stampin' Seal Plus, use the Plus, not just the regular, because you want this to be super sticky. You could use liquid glue, and I've got not enough up here, so I'm going to put a dab of liquid glue up top. I just don't like using too much liquid glue because I want to make sure it's not going to ooze anywhere when I seal stuff shut. I am going to use it for the bottom though, because it is my preferred glue. All right, so the easiest way to do this is I've folded at the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to bring the paper to the corner, or to the score, the fold. So I'm lining up the top. There we go. There we go. So that's nice and solid. So to assemble the bottom, I am going to use my liquid glue. So where you assembled it and there's a line, right? This is where we stuck it together. That's the back. So the back flap goes in. I'm going to put glue on the inside of the little flaps, and you can use, you know, whatever tape or whatever glue you prefer. I'm not putting too much because I don't want it to ooze out when I close it. Now, because I've used liquid glue and I don't want it to get in the way, I'm just pulling my back flap back a bit. Fold, fold. Just give it a quick sec. And there we go. And then what I normally do once I've smoothed that a bit is I put it down flat, and I get either a ruler or my bone folder. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm just smoothing it out, making sure that there's full contact at the bottom. And that's that. Now we have our little bag. Voila. So to decorate it, you could use designer series paper. Put that on here, front and back, would look lovely. I have die cut using the layering rectangle dies. So I die cut this piece, and I'm gonna pull in my Awesome Otters stamp set. Just trying to get rid of the glare here so you can see it. So there's 3 different otters. There's Party Hat, You Are Otterly Awesome, and It's Birthday Time. I love, love, love these stamps. They're so cute. I'm using black ink, and I'm gonna stamp an otter. There we go. I'm just cleaning him off using my Simply Chamois over here. I don't think you can see, just so you know what those swooshy sounds are from. And then, because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to punch out a heart. So this is the Heart Punch pack that I'm using. Because it's for my boys, and you know, they're not into scalloped and pretty things, but the other one is scalloped and lovely. It's just a tiny bit bigger than the flat one, or the straight line one. Not straight line, but you know what I mean, even line. So it layers up really nicely, but they think frilly things are girly, which I beg to differ, but anyway. And on my heart, I'm gonna use the You Are Otterly Awesome stamp. And I should point out the otters, which I love, are one of the Celebration stamp sets. So it's only available until the end of February. The really cool thing about it is that it is free with a purchase of $60 or more in Canada. So just to give you an idea, the Heart Punch pack is $46. Put it on screen. So this is $46, and the ribbon that we're using is $10.25, which is this really cute ribbon. So if you were to purchase those 2 items, you're only $4.75 away from getting the otters for free. So just to consider, if you are shopping, make sure that you get to that $60 mark and that you don't leave any unclaimed free items. So I usually use a gray for his little nose. I don't want to make it too dark or it'll disappear. I'm using my Stampin' Blends to color my little guy. You don't even need to color him. Like, you could leave him just stacked up with the heart, and that would look nice too, but I am going to color him. I'm using Crumb Cake Light and Dark. They come in a 2-pack of dark and light. So I'm going to start with that. So you want to be careful when you're coloring because the Stampin' Blends can bleed. So I'm, you know, gingerly going to the edge, but I'm leaving a tiny bit of white here and there, and that's okay. It'll bleed into itself a little bit. And I'm being careful not to spend too much time on the black ink. You can use StazOn ink, which is a different, it's not water-based, and it would not bleed if it got kind of wet with the Stampin' Blends, but this regular ink can. So I just try not to spend too much. I try not to get it too wet. These little otters are so adorable. On my Facebook page, you'll see another bag that I made with my little otters. And I stamped the You Are Otterly Awesome on the inside so that it's kind of like, you know, those, if you buy a nice purse and it's got the stitching on the inside. It's like that. And then I'm just going to use the light. Now you can blend colors and lights and darks to end up with a different color with these. I'm not spending too much time today, but there we go. So where there's like little smudges, I'm just going to go over a bit, and it'll add some light tones too. I don't want to leave white spots, but there we go. All right, so that's our coloring. I'm going to use dimensionals to pop up my little heart a bit because it's fun. And I'm a big fan of dimensionals. So our little otter's holding our little heart. I'm just going to use some liquid glue and we're going to stick that to our box. And then I'll show you how I like to close them. And again, bag, not box. I don't know what is with me today. All right, so just before you glue anything, I'm gonna make sure, so my seam here is at the back, this seam is at the back, so I am indeed gluing to the front. And there we go. Now, to make this closure, I mean, there's a lot of options here. You can put a clip if you prefer and just hold it shut that way, or 2 clips if it's on the wider side. You can make little handles, oops, and have it be more like a little purse. Or you can kind of keep it simple like this one, which is what I'm going to show you to do. So I'm holding it at the end. I've got my index fingers kind of pressing in the center of each side, and I'm going to squeeze the 2 sides towards each other, and I've made a little fold. So it ends up making like a little milk carton kind of closure. Can you see that? So that's that. And then I'm using my trusty hole punch. I've had this thing for, I think, since I was a child, to be honest. And I'm just gonna make the holes kind of equal distance to the sides and the height. And when I say equal, I'm totally eyeballing it, so it may or may not be equal, but that's okay. And then I'm feeding the ribbon through the front, into the back, across the back, and back out to the front. So you've got your ends towards you. And I'm just gonna make a bow. There we go. So simple, simple. Another option, if you wanted to have handles, would be, I'm not gonna tie this very tight. Instead of having it come towards you all the way, I'm actually going to take out this front one, and I'm gonna put this one over here. So now I've got my ribbons coming out the inside of the box. I'm just going to make a little knot over here. I'm not going to tie it super tight because I am not making handles, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is. So knot the knot, and then pull your handles out, and now you've got, isn't that cute? Now you got a little purse. So that is our utterly awesome little boxes. Again, you can just, doing a little bit of simple math, you can make this shorter on the front, so maybe 3 inches by 2 on the sides, or 1.5. I don't know, again, I would have to math that out, but you want to have 1/2 inch left over to stick the thing together. And then your height, again, is, you want to leave as much on the bottom as the width of your bag. So if it's 1 inch wide, you need 1 inch wide down here. And if it's 1.5, again, 1.5, you need that to go together. So I hope you like these. I hope that's helpful. If you ever want to talk through dimensions, let me know. I'm happy to help you with that. You can message me or reach out via my other contact information that's on here. And yeah, please subscribe to my channel to see my next video. Thanks so much.